Hi guys, today we would discuss the correct use of a comma in a sentence, and here I would like to tell you how to use a comma in a sentence. Comma in the chapter of punctuation marks plays a very important role, and it separates from a clause to another clause, from a sentence to another sentence in English grammar. So guys, we would like to tell all the positions and all the fields where we can use a comma in a sentence. First of all, in case of clauses, when we try to connect a sentence of principal clause to the sentence of subordinate clause, then we can use a comma, but in such a position this is to be observed that if the sentence of subordinate clause is supposed to start and a sentence of principal clause is supposed to be connected with a sentence of subordinate clause, then we should use a comma between the sentence of principal clause and the sentence of subordinate clause. But it is necessary on the part of sentence of subordinate clause that the starting point of the sentence must be cleared from the sentence of subordinate clause. In simple terms, we may say that if a sentence is going to start from a sentence of subordinate clause, if subordinate clause is supposed to start the sentence and a sentence of principal clause is supposed to be connected with the sentence of subordinate clause, then we can use a comma between subordinate clause and the principal clause. But if our sentence is going to start with the sentence of principal clause and a subordinate clause is supposed to be connected with the sentence of principal clause, then we should not use comma between the sentence of principal clause and the subordinate clause. So guys, it is necessary on the part of a sentence that a sentence of subordinate clause is supposed to be connected with a sentence of principal clause, then we can use a comma between the sentence of subordinate clause and the sentence of principal clause. As for example, so guys, please look at these two separate sentences. In the first sentence, I wrote, if Mohan comes here, I will give him money. In the second sentence, I will give him money if Mohan comes here. So guys, here as we have already told you, the sentence of subordinate clause is going to be connected with the sentence of principal clause, then we can use a comma between the sentence of subordinate clause and the sentence of principal clause. But if the sentence is going to start from a sentence of principal clause and it is supposed to be connected with the sentence of subordinate clause, then we cannot use a comma between the sentence of principal clause and the sentence of subordinate clause. So this is clearly visible in the second sentence. Here we have started the sentence of subordinate clause. If Mohan comes here, here we have started the sentence from a subordinate clause. If Mohan comes here, it is a sentence of subordinate clause, and I will give him money, it is the sentence of principal clause. So if we are going to connect a sentence of subordinate clause to the sentence of principal clause, then we cannot use a comma, then we can use a comma. Here I have used a comma because the first sentence is of subordinate clause and that is supposed to be connected with the sentence of principal clause. So we have used a comma between the sentence of subordinate clause and the sentence of principal clause. But in the second sentence, the first sentence is supposed to be a sentence of principal clause, and now the sentence of principal clause is going to be connected with the sentence of subordinate clause, and if here we cannot use a comma because here a conjunctive adverb, subordinate subordinating conjunction is supposed to be used between the sentence of principal clause and subordinate clause. So, here we cannot use comma, but in the first sentence we have used subordinate clause, subordinate conjunction at the very first of the sentence, and where subordinate conjunction is supposed to be used, then it is a sentence of subordinate clause. So, guys, here we have used subordinate conjunction if at the very beginning of the sentence. So, it is a sentence of subordinate clause and it is going to be connected with the sentence of principal clause. Then we can use a comma between the sentence of subordinate clause and the sentence of principal clause. But in the next sentence, the sentence is going to start from the sentence of principal clause, and here a subordinating conjunction is supposed to be used between the sentence of principal clause and the subordinate clause. So, here we cannot use any type of comma. So, guys, please look at these sentences. Here we have used two sentences and both the sentences are of principal clause. First sentence, Mohan goes to school. This is a sentence of principal clause, but Sita does not go. And in the second sentence, he loves Sita, but Sita doesn't love him. In the fourth one, he worked very hard, but he could not pass. Ram buys books and his father pays for it. All the sentences are supposed to be sentences of principal clause, and when two sentences of principal clause are supposed to be connected with each other, we use coordinating conjunctions between these two sentences, and here we have used coordinating conjunction but, and. So, guys, when we use coordinating conjunction to join two sentences of principal clauses, then we use a comma between these two sentences of principal clause. Here we have used comma here. This is the first sentence of principal clause, Mohan goes to school. It is a sentence of principal clause and it is going to be connected with another sentence of principal clause, and between both the sentences of principal clauses we have used a comma before the another sentence of principal clause. It is the coordinating conjunction here working between both the sentences of principal clauses. So, guys, he loves Sita, it is a sentence of principal clause, but Sita doesn't love him, it is also a sentence of principal clause. And here both two sentences of principal clause are going to be connected with each other. So, between these two sentences we have used coordinating conjunctions find voice, and when we use find voice in a sentence, then we can use a comma between these two sentences of principal clause. So, guys, here we have written two other sentences. In the first sentence, Mohan buys some books and sent them to his friend. In another sentence, Sita cooks food and serves it to her family members. So, guys, please look at here. Here we have used one subject, Mohan. Mohan buys some books. Here subject is Mohan, and sent, and doer is also Mohan. Subject is one and predicate is two. In simple terms, we can say that when in a sentence there is only one subject and there are more than two predicates or two predicates we have used in a for a single subject, as has been used in the first sentence and it has been used in another sentence. Here Sita is a single subject and Sita has two predicate. One predicate is cook food, this is the first predicate, and another predicate is serves it to her family members. And the first sentence, first predicate is buy some books and another predicate sent them to his friend. So, guys, when a single subject is supposed to have two predicates, then we cannot use a comma while joining two predicates with a single subject. As in the first sentence, Mohan buys some books. Here we cannot use a comma, because here we are not going to connect two sentences of principal clauses with the help of find voice, but here we are going to connect one predicate to another predicate. So guys, when we are going to connect one predicate to another predicate, then we cannot use comma between the connection of both the predicates. Here some books is the first predicate, and sent to his friends is another predicate, and here we cannot use comma because we are going to connect two predicates, not two sentences. So in case of connecting two sentences, we can use a comma, but when we are going to connect two predicates for a single subject, then we cannot use a comma in a sentence. So this is clearly visible in both the sentences. In the first sentence, Mohan is the subject of the sentence, and its first predicate is buys some books, and another predicate sent them to his friend. Here both predicates, the first predicate and the second predicate, is supposed to be connected with and here we cannot use comma before and, because we cannot use comma while joining two predicates with a single subject. Had there been two separate subjects and two separate predicates, then we would have used the comma between two predicates, but here subject is single, so we cannot use a comma in these sentences. In case of principal clauses, in case of the sentences of principal clauses, we can use comma, because in that condition we are going to connect two sentences of principal clauses, and in case of while connecting two sentences of principal clauses, we would like to use coordinating conjunctions to connect one principal clause to another principal clause. But when we are going to connect one predicate to another predicate, and both are connected with a single subject, then we cannot use a comma between the connection of one predicate to another predicate in the sentence. So guys, there are some another circumstances where we can use a comma in the sentence. In the first circumstance, he said, Mohan is my friend. He said. Here we have used a comma. Mohan is my friend. So guys, in case of direct indirect sentences, or in case of narrations, when a reporting verb when a reporting verb is supposed to be connected with a reported speech, then we can use a comma to keep a reporting verb separate from the sentence of reported speech. So it is a reporting verb. Here in case of reporting verb, we have used a comma. In all types of narrations and simple sentences, when a reporting verb is supposed to come in a sentence, we use a comma just before reporting verb in a sentence, and it is the reported speech. Mohan is my friend. It is a reported speech and it is a reporting verb, and here we would like to use a comma, because here comma is necessary to keep both separate from one another. In the second sentence, Sita goes to school, Mohan said. Here we would not like to use comma. In simple terms, we can say that if a reporting verb is supposed to come at the very beginning of the sentence, then we can use a comma to separate reported speech from reporting verb. But in case of those sentences where reported speech is supposed to start the sentence, then we cannot use a comma to separate reported speech from reporting verb. So as this is clearly visible in the second sentence. Sita goes to school. This is reported speech. Here we cannot use a comma to separate the reporting verb from the reported speech. So here we cannot use a comma. But when a sentence is going to start from a reporting verb, then we can use a comma to separate the reporting verb from the reported speech. So here comma is clearly visible. In the third sentence, does she love me? Does she love me? Here we cannot use a comma because it is a reported speech, and we cannot use a comma when a reported speech is going to start the sentence. And here ask the why, it is the reporting verb. So guys, when in a sentence a reporting verb is going to start the sentence, so we can use a comma between the reported speech and reporting verb and reported speech. But in case of those sentences where reported speech is supposed to start the sentence, then we cannot use a comma to keep reported speech and reporting verb separate from each other. So guys, here we cannot use comma. In the fourth one, Mohan asked. Here we have used comma because it is reporting verb, and we have already told you in case of reporting verb we can use a comma because the reporting verb is supposed to start the sentence. But in case of reported speech, where a sentence is supposed to be started from reported speech, then we cannot use comma between the reported speech and the reported verb in such a sentence. So guys, these examples are clearly visible with the use of comma in the sentence. So guys, it is the third condition where we can use a comma in a sentence. In a sentence, if we are going to identify a noun, then we can not use a comma. But in case of we are going to elaborate a noun, then we can use a comma there. So in simple terms, we can say that in case of identification of a noun, we cannot use a comma. But in case of elaboration of a noun, we can use a comma. When we are going to identify a noun in a sentence, then we cannot use a comma because in case of identification, comma is not required in a sentence. But in case of elaboration of a noun, then we can use a comma. So guys, we are going to prove the identification and elaboration of a noun in a sentence just by giving some examples on the blackboard. So guys, here we have written some examples through which we can prove where we can use identification of this noun and where we can use elaboration of the noun. In case of identification, no comma, but in case of elaboration, we use comma. So guys, please look at the first sentence. Mahatma Gandhi, our national father, was killed. Here we have used comma because Mahatma Gandhi is noun is the name of person. Mahatma Gandhi, everybody knows about Mahatma Gandhi. All people are familiar with Mahatma Gandhi. So for Mahatma Gandhi, the noun used in this sentence, we cannot make identification. Here Mahatma Gandhi doesn't need identification. The noun needs elaboration. So guys, where we can use a comma because we have elaborated about the facts concerned with Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, our national father, was killed. So here we can use comma. So it means in case of elaboration, if we are going to elaborate a noun or we are going to represent or to tell extra information of a noun which is not very important and which is known to everybody, then it can be kept under the category of elaboration of the noun. So in case of elaboration of the noun, we can use a comma in the sentence. So here we have used a comma. Mahatma Gandhi doesn't need any type of identification. He needs elaboration. So in case of elaboration, we have used comma. But in the second sentence, the car that you bought yesterday has been stolen. Here the second sentence and the third sentence, the car that you bought yesterday has been stolen. In the third sentence, matter is same, but here we have used comma, but in the second sentence we don't use comma. But both sentences are correct, but the meaning which comes out from one sentence to another sentence is separate from one another. As in the first sentence we have used no comma, it means we are going to identify the noun. It means the car that you bought yesterday has been stolen. It means we have bought a new car, or it means we have more than one car, and from more than one car one has been stolen. So here this car needs elaboration, not elaboration, identification. In case of identification, it means we are going to identify the car that we have bought yesterday. It means yesterday we have bought a new car, and the newly car has been stolen from the parking lot. So we can say that in case of the second sentence, we are going to identify the noun, and in case of identification, no need a comma. We cannot use a comma to identify a noun. So in the second sentence we do not use comma, because here we are going to identify the noun, but in the second sentence we have used comma. It means it is giving an entirely different meaning from the second sentence. The car that you bought yesterday has been stolen. It means we have only one car. It means the meaning of the third sentence is that we have only one car that we bought yesterday, and that is supposed to be stolen from the parking lot. So in the third sentence it is making an elaboration of our single car, but in case of second sentence it is making the identification, because we have, it means we have more than one car, and in more than one car one has been stolen from the parking lot, and that car which is supposed to be stolen has been bought by us yesterday. So in the second sentence we are going to elaborate to identify the noun. It means the newly car which has been bought by us has been stolen. So here we have make identification of the car, but in the second sentence we have made elaboration of the car. Elaboration of the car, it means we have more than one car. So in more than one car that has been bought by us yesterday has been stolen, but in the second sentence the car that you bought yesterday has been stolen. It means we have more than one car, and the newly car that we bought yesterday has been stolen from the parking lot. In the third sentence, Mohan, who is my father, has come from Goa. Here Mohan, who is my father. In case of father, we need not identification but elaboration, because father, everybody has single father. So here it would be proper to use comma, because here we are going to make elaboration of the noun, not identification of noun. So we can use comma here, because Mohan, who is my father. So here we can elaborate the noun, not identify the noun. In the third sentence, last one, Mohan, who is my teacher. Mohan, who is my teacher, is absent in the class. Here we can make elaboration of the noun, because we are talking about our teacher, and teacher needs elaboration, not identification. If we are going to identify noun, it means we can remove comma. This sentence would be right. If we remove comma, then this sentence would be right. It would not be wrong. It means we are going to identify the noun. It means there are more than one teacher. So in more than one teacher we are talking about Mohan. So we cannot use comma. It means we are going to identify the noun. So guys, finally we can say that if we are going to elaborate a noun in the sentence, we can use a comma. But in case of identification, it means we are going to identify a noun in the sentence, then we cannot use a comma. In case of identification of a noun, we can never use a comma, but in case of elaboration of the noun, we can use a comma in the sentence. So guys, we would meet in our next class. Thank you.